Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, becomes the first child of a sitting president to be found guilty of a crime. After nearly 3 hours of deliberation, a federal jury in Delaware voted to convict Biden on 3 federal gun charges. People on both sides of the aisle lobbed political accusations at the prosecutors and the jury. There were questions about the ability of a Delaware jury to be fair and impartial in a state where President Joe Biden built his life and represented in the Senate for over 35 years. But once again, the jury proved they take the job seriously. One juror is speaking out.
It wasn't about his family. It wasn't politically motivated. It was what he did. And the biggest thing that he did was lied about not being a drug addict and not using cocaine and buying a gun.
Biden was found guilty on 3 felony counts: illegally possessing a gun while addicted to crack cocaine, lying to a licensed gun dealer, and lying on the form about his drug use and drug addiction. The charges stem from Biden's purchase of a Colt revolver in October 2018. When he bought the gun, he filled out a form that everyone purchasing a gun from a licensed dealer has to sign, and it asked him whether he was using or addicted to illegal drugs. He checked no, but the evidence showed that was just not true. Throughout the trial, the jury heard testimony from Biden's ex-wife, ex-girlfriends, and family members, not to mention passages in Biden's book about his struggle with addiction near the time of the gun purchase. His defense team tried to argue that Biden may not have thought he was addicted to drugs at the time he filled out the form, so in his head he was telling the truth, but the jury didn't buy it. Special counsel David Weiss, who was originally appointed as U.S. attorney by former President Donald Trump and kept on by President Joe Biden, said the case was about more than drug addiction.
This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous.
Hunter faces up to 25 years in prison, but it's unlikely he'll get the maximum penalty as a first-time offender with no criminal history. Judge Mary Ellen Noreika, the Trump appointee who's overseeing the case, told the parties she would reach out to set a date for sentencing sometime in the next 4 months. And President Joe Biden flew to Delaware to spend the night with his son after the conviction, before then flying to Italy the next morning for the G7 summit. The president says he will accept the outcome of the case and he will not pardon his son. Meantime, while Hunter awaits sentencing in Delaware, he's set to face federal tax charges in California, where he's accused of withholding over $1 million owed to the IRS. That trial is scheduled to begin in September. Former President Donald Trump met with the probation office in New York this week. That's something required for anyone found guilty of a crime before the judge determines the appropriate sentence. The probation office will prepare a written report to help Judge Juan Marchand determine the proper sentence. Trump was found guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to cover up a sex scandal leading up to the 2016 election. Probation officers asked questions about Trump's family and employment history, social ties, economic status, and education background. The meeting lasted for about 30 minutes and was fairly routine, according to a source familiar who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Sentencing is scheduled for July 11th, just 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Meantime, the Department of Justice took the extraordinary step of responding to political accusations tied to the New York State hush money trial. DOJ sharply criticized House Republicans for suggesting the department was behind the district attorney's prosecution. They said in a letter, quote, "The conspiracy theory that the recent jury verdict in New York State court was somehow controlled by the department is not only false, it's irresponsible," Assistant Attorney General Carlos Uriarte told House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, calling the accusations completely baseless. And as the letter points out, the department doesn't usually make extensive efforts to respond to conspiracy theories, but in this case, they conducted a comprehensive search and said it's basically a nothing burger. Meantime, Judge Eileen Cannon, the Trump appointee who has indefinitely paused the former president's trial in the classified documents case, handed the government a small victory this week. Cannon denied Trump's request to dismiss some of the charges against him related to his alleged unauthorized retention of national defense information. But Cannon also agreed to strike a paragraph from the indictment that Trump's team had argued was prejudicial. That paragraph detailed allegations that after Trump left office, he showed a classified map of a foreign foreign country to someone from his political action committee while discussing a military operation he said was not going well. And the Supreme Court Friday struck down a Trump-era ban on bump stocks. That's a gun accessory that allows a semi-automatic weapon to fire rapidly close to the rate of a machine gun. The 6-3 ruling, split along ideological lines, found the Trump administration exceeded its authority when it banned bump stocks after a gunman in Las Vegas killed 58 people, wounding 500 in a matter of minutes back in 2017. A Texas gun shop owner challenged the ban. He argued the Justice Department wrongly classified the accessories as illegal machine guns, and he won.